myself!
Salve a tutti ragazzi, sono zWillyx. Oggi ho deciso di portarvi un video abbastanza particolare, ovvero un'intervista dell'attore di Trevor, Steven Hogg, che mi ha particolarmente colpito. Allora, siccome in Italia non ho mai visto un'intervista sottotitolata in italiano di qualche persona che ha lavorato per la creazione di GTA 5, ho pensato io stesso di caricare sul mio canale questa intervista sottotitolata da me in italiano, perché mi piace l'idea di voler diffondere qualche informazione in più su nostro gioco che normalmente in Italia non possiamo trovare, ma soprattutto per farvi conoscere meglio uno degli attori che ha recitato come protagonista in questo Grand Theft Auto. Fatemi sapere tra i commenti cosa ne pensate di questa idea, è importante ricevere il vostro feedback e se magari l'intervista vi è piaciuta vi porterò un'altra intervista di Sean Fontino, sempre sottotitolata da me in italiano. Da zWillyx è tutto, noi ci sentiamo al prossimo video!
Grand Theft Auto 5 is the most financially successful video game of all time. Tens of millions of people have played it. Did you go into this project thinking of it as a significant acting role?
Yes. Yeah. Like Kevin Smith, when we were passing each other there, talked about when he mentioned the artist doing something to satisfy themselves. That's why they do it. That's why I did it. It was when I read the script, when I looked at this character, for me, it was an acting gig. I didn't think of GTA. I didn't really know about video games. I still don't.
Do you get paid well to do this kind of thing?
Yeah.
A video game?
Yeah. I mean, it's
like doing a movie?
It's different scale than doing a movie, but certainly it's good pay. It's, you're not getting necessarily a piece of the pie, but you don't do it for that reason. I didn't go into it with like, okay, what's the payment on this? I won't even read the script unless I see what money I'm getting.
Right.
No. It's more like, okay, wow, look at this character. This would be a challenge.
Steven, most voice actors, even in Disney blockbusters, aren't exposed to the viewing public in such a major way. This character is based on you, looks like you. We see you as well as hear your voice. Has it opened doors? Career-wise?
Well, the film I wrapped yesterday, which I'm in sort of the summer camp is over blues today because it was such an amazing experience with Henry Rollins. He never died, and we just finished shooting that yesterday.
Here, you were shooting that in Toronto.
Yeah, and that was, I would say, the first direct result of. I don't think I would have got that had I not been with GTA because the director, Jason Kochek, saw that I was Trevor, and he's, like many directors, are in their 20s, so they're gamers. And they're, if nothing else, they're like, I just want to work with this guy.
Wow.
Even if he's a terrible actor, this is Trevor. So that was the first sort of direct thing. But, even talking there with Kevin about it's the voice acting thing. I mean, it was a motion capture performance. The entire thing was motion captured. So the voice work was really only done near the end when we got into a studio and did right into a mic for some of the car scenes where we're just talking.
I was wondering how this works because it's sort of very realistic animation that we see in Grand Theft Auto 5. So what does motion capture mean?
Motion capture is you're basically in almost a spandex suit that you wear, which is for some flattering and for others not so flattering because there's nothing really to hide. And you're covered in these reflective balls, essentially, all over. These little tiny, like marbles, all over you. On your head, you have a helmet, and you've got these bars with a bright light and a camera right on you. So that's right in your face. So even when you're talking, like if we were doing this scene motion capture, we would be suited up, we would be in seats, we'd have a table, we'd have a mic, and we'd be talking to each other through these sort of, bars and cameras. And then we've got our fingers, we've got our toes. And what you can see up on the screen is your actual, I used to call it my avatar. They didn't like when I said my avatar, but I was like, that's my avatar. You can see everything.
Why didn't they like it?
I don't know. I have no idea. I never asked. I just, whatever.
So it is 100% acting. Every
100%
bone
acting.
of your body, right?
Oh, yeah.
For those who haven't played Grand Theft Auto 5, and this is a really interesting character that you play. Not a particularly
Sweet
one. Yeah. Can you describe Trevor for people? How would you describe him?
Troubled. He's troubled. I mean, he's. I tried to do things like the loyalty. I mean, he does have a loyalty. He does have a sense of humor. However dark and sick and twisted it is, there is humor in him. I mean, which is, when people say, "Oh, I found myself laughing and a little uncomfortable laughing," I'm like, "Okay, great. I did my job as far as I'm concerned." Didn't want to make him this one-note psychopath. But But he's, you know, yeah, he needs that rush. He needs the rush of the be it the drugs or the crime or whatever that fuels him. But he's also incredibly loyal to those around him. If you cross him, he'll.
It's interesting because the character is so extreme. He's almost a parody of a bad guy, and yet he feels real. How do you make him real?
That was the big challenge. How do you make this guy who's larger than life real? And it was just really about finding the connection with another person. I mean, you know, I find the sense of humor with this guy, find his relationship to other people. And if you're doing your job as an actor and you're communicating those words and you're really talking to the other person, the humanity is going to come through, regardless of the situation, be it ridiculous or not.
It feels like we live in an era of amoral bad guys in films and TV, you know, to choose from as influences if you were looking for one. Did you have inspirations from your own viewing, or were you out to make Trevor your own?
The biggest, I mean, because I'm not a fan of copycatting by any means, but certainly one performance that I recognized that was an influence in there a lot. But I had some strange influences that came into the actual performance of Trevor. But Tom Hardy in the movie Bronson, the movie itself, that sort of glorified, I felt, this terrible man, Bronson. I loved the film, but it was somewhat of a glorification. But that performance that Tom Hardy gave had that larger-than-life theatricality to it, but there still was this humanity and sense of humor, even though I didn't like the guy. So what Tom Hardy did with Bronson, I certainly looked to that, but then I also looked at, like, you know, a film like Bullhead, where he has this intensity. So certain roles like that, I certainly looked at and watched.
Well, one of the things your character Trevor does in this game, I mean, I guess the most controversial aspect of the game is torture someone very, very brutally. Describe what you had to do in that scene.
That one was just purely, all I really remember was the technical shooting of that. I mean, you know, the only difference with all these mediums, TV, film, theater, video games now, is the technical aspect. So to film that, I just had to be aware of, you know, we had different sort of instruments, and the actor sitting in the chair, you can't, for lack of a better word, touch balls or cross balls because then the animators can't animate it. So you have to be very aware of where you're interacting with the person. So in that particular scene, and then you have dialogue. So I'm just thinking about, okay, how can I get it in there without crossing so that the animators can do their job? So I'm sort of thinking of the whole team and the technical aspect.
You're not necessarily thinking you tear a guy's teeth out with pliers, you waterboard him, you break his kneecaps.
I'm not thinking like, oh, what are the social ramifications of this?
So you don't have a discomfort in acting that.
No, that was just doing that.
This raises the question. Simon Parkin, writing in The New Yorker, discussed his own discomfort merely playing the game, right, as a gamer. And he wrote that video games might actually have a greater moral responsibility than cinema because, as he put it, when we watch a violent scene in a film or read a description of violence in a novel, no matter how graphic it is, we are merely spectators. In video games, we are active, if virtual, participants. What do you make of that? Do you think video games should be judged with a higher moral bar than other art forms?
No, because I think, you know, the torture scene is no better or worse than what you see, even like what Breaking Bad does. I mean, there's even on television now, forget the cinema, what we see on TV is getting more and more graphic and more violent. And I understand his point regarding that because you're the first player, the interaction might heighten it, but
and is a kid playing that going to have the context or the moral nuances, you know?
I think if the kid has good parenting, I mean, I'm kind of old school with the idea of if you have parents that communicate. Now, we get it, okay, what if you don't have the parenting, you don't, but it's not the video game's fault. It's just like video games don't cause violence any more than the heavy metal music causes violence. I think that whole argument is like those are people that sit back and probably don't do anything about it. You know, you got to participate. I mean, if you have a child playing these games, talk to your child. Why do you like watching this? What's exciting about this? And it's that is the problem. I think the human communication needs to strengthen and quit worrying about.
Is it true, though, that you turned down an opportunity to act in another video game a few years ago? And
it was.
So what changed?
I think it was when I first came to New York and I was, you know, the theater, and I was going to tread the boards and to be taken seriously. I was not going to do commercials, or it was a bit of that more than I'm against the violence or anything like that. But it was sort of like, yeah, I don't know if I want to contribute to the violence. But as you know, I have an 8-year-old son now, and not that changed me. I was never like, as soon as I had a child, go, oh my God, the sky is blue.
Right.
I'm not that guy. I saw the sky is blue before. But you realize it's the parenting. It's not what's out there. If you're not interacting with your child, then they're going to be affected by things more, you know.
Hey man, congratulations on the success you're having with that and with GTA 5.
Thank you. I also noticed that we sort of share a similar.
We're dressed the same.
Dressed the same. I should have wore a gray blazer, for goodness sake.
That's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you, John. It was an honor.